Welcome to FYI. It is Monday, the 15th day of January. I'm thinking September in my head. Why? Why is that? Good morning, folks, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to our broadcast. Great to have each and every one of you here with us, folks. It's a new day, it's a new week. We're fired up, we're ready to go. It's Budget Day 2024. Believe it or not, and we're going to be discussing that among other things this morning. It is Budget Day, and we're happy that all of you folks are here. Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear. It is Budget Day, folks, and welcome to FYI to each and every one of you. Share it live, smash that emoji button, good folks. We got some ways to go. Good to see you, Karen and Everett and Debbie and all the other folks joining us. Everett, Kyle. Kyle is here. Kyle Bino is on the live this morning, joining us live on the tube. Good to have all you bright folks this morning. I hope your day is off to a fantastic start. No doubt some of us have been up very, very early, getting a head start on the day like the early bird that catches the worm. Getting a head start, Tessa and Laverne and Debbie and Andrew and all the other folks who are joining us this morning, and ensure that, folks, you help us to help others to receive valid and credible information wherever you're joining us from, and that's a small price for pay for admissions, folks. Share the live and smash that emoji button as well. We are truly privileged to have each and every one of you here with us. We are fired up, folks, and we are ready to go this morning. As I said, we are happy to have all of you here. Hope you had a good weekend, folks. Hope you spent some time with friends and family, some time with yourself even. And I got some time in with relatives who were visiting from overseas. Good folks, of course. You got everybody practice there. You got everybody practice. It's good to have all of you on with us this morning, guys. It's another day, another week to be out here and to, most importantly, try to make a difference. Alche Garraway and Shauna Fortune. Leonard Cox is here as well. Petal Thorne is here with us too. Good to have all of you with us today. Good folks, wherever you're joining us from, take an opportunity to share the broadcast. Smash that emoji button for us, folks. And let's have a go at it. Great to see. We're making sure that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. We were set fully to come on. But you know, you're always dealing with so many things, guys. So many things. But great to have each and every one of you with us. You're here, we're here, and all is well with the world. What do we have to complain about? You know, you got decent health, reasonably good health. You know, you got peace of mind. You got some food in the cupboards, folks. All is well with the world, and we trusting God for even more. Debbie Collins says loud and clear. Luan Hall, Edward Rooms, Marcia A. Guard is here with us too. So privileged to have Marcia. Oh, this chair is creaking a little bit. Cracks and creaks. Good to have each and every one of you beautiful, wonderful folks here with us this morning. Great to have all of you here with us, good folks. And we just hope. I don't know what's happening this morning. What's happening this morning? The graphic don't want a rocker come in. But good to have all of you beautiful folks on with us today, folks. It's nothing short of a privilege to have all of you beautiful, warm, generous, loving, kind folks join us this morning. It's such a privilege to wake up and come and spend some time with you guys. You know, it's nothing better. You start a day with family. It's all uphill from there, folks. I tell you, it's all uphill from there. And we want to give you guys 15 things you ought to know as you start a day. Why not let's start there? 15 things we think you wonderful folks ought to know about as you start the day. Folks, it's not going to let us be great here this morning at all. It's not going to let us be great here this morning. We rock and come in, but the graphic don't want to rock and come in with us. What's going down, folks? What's going down? How was your weekend? We don't have too much time to lose this morning. We got a packed day. Dental appointment, City of the National Assembly. Nothing much, folks. Nothing much, just a couple of things. How are you guys doing this morning? How are you guys feeling this morning? What's happening at your end? Do let us know, good folks, how you guys are keeping out there. Pace and power, power and pace. Nothing less will do. Nothing less will do. We might have to switch over quickly and come back, but good to have all of you wonderful folks on with us. Oh, we hate it when things go awry. They're not too awry, but clearly not where they should be. They're not too awry, folks. Let me put it in that way. Not too awry, but it's not where we want it to be. So let's see if we can get. We're set to go, but the graphic is not helping us this morning. We're going to get it started in just a sec, folks. But good to have you guys here with us. Why don't you take the opportunity as we whole to share that live for us. It's always something, you know. It's always something. Smash that emoji button for us as well, folks. It's budget day, believe it or not. And I think, let's see if we can pull up that graphic and then we're going to try to switch. Budget day, good folks. How are things at your end? Budget day at our end. How are things at your side? All right. We got to make a quick switch and come back. How are you folks doing this morning? What are you guys having for beverage this morning? What are you wonderful folks having for beverage this morning? Do let us know. Don't keep it a secret to yourself. To yourself only. It's budget day 2024 and we got some things that we want to see in the budget. We're going to be sharing some other things with you folks. We're here if only the graphic would comply with us today. We got a couple of things we can be sharing with you folks too. Some expectations that we have for budget 2024. Give us a quick sec. Give us a quick sec, folks. Give us a quick sec. All right, folks, we're happy to be here with you folks back again. Happy to be back with you folks this morning. A very good morning to you. The graphics wouldn't let us be great, but good to have each and every one of you on with us this morning. Welcome to Monday, folks. Welcome to Monday, Winella and Yvonne and Karen and Dolly and all the other good folks joining us. Marcy Agard, I see Debbie Collins on with us as well. What kind of weekend did you guys have? Good to have each and every one of you with us this morning, good folks. And folks, it's Monday. We set the 15 days, mid-month, right there. You know, most of us watching the payday, some folks watching at the budget. We watching that, folks, and we want to bring you right up the block. A couple things you ought to know as we start the day. A couple things you ought to know. Folks, we apologize. We were set to go. Everything looks nice. And the things we want to come in on time. Not doing so, Edward Brooms and Yvonne Robinson. The first 15 things we think you ought to know as you start the day. Folks, there's a lot of things happening out there. The first 15, Yvonne Ramasar, Marcy, you ready? Deborah Pearson, you ought to be asking us that. Are we ready, folks? Share that live, wherever you're joining us from, good folks. Smash that emoji button for us. The first 15 things we think you ought to know about as you start the day today. First and foremost, what's happening in Guatemala? What's going down in Guatemala? They had an election recently, a decisive win, a very, very decisive win by the, a new party coming in, very, very decisive win. And then yesterday we saw, like they weren't sparing the people. That's part of what we saw yesterday in Guatemala. Mr. Alvaro, right? The folks took a long time, all kinds of setbacks, all kinds of excuses. They call him a reformist, and folks, this is anti-corruption crusader Bernardo Aravalo, Bernardo Aravalo. Yeah, it was a whole host of shenanigans yesterday in Guatemala. I think we told people with problems in this hemisphere. Please and thank you. We are not. Edward Brooms, a lot of problems out there. A lot of problems. Marcy Agard, Edward Brooms, Siobhan McDonald. A lot of things are happening out there, and you had some challenges. Didn't even want to swear in the members of the legislature yesterday, the National Assembly there in Guatemala. Delay after delay after delay. For hours, people were holding. And then finally, when they could wait no longer, when they had no more delays up their sleeves, you see, President Bernardo Avrelo was sworn in yesterday, and we want to congratulate him and the new government there in Guatemala. May they do well, right? May they do well for the people of Guatemala. You know, a lot of the Latin American countries got lots of challenges with their democracy. There are lots of strong men in Latin America, folks. And we want to wish President Avrelo and his cabinet, his team, his government, all the best. All the best. We want to wish them. Look what else we found this morning. 15 things you ought to know, folks. Number 2, there's a crash in the interior. Aranaputa. There's a greensman, riding his motorcycle and crashed into a lorry there in Aranaputa. Folks, you got to be careful out there. Be careful out there. And the reports that we're getting says that, this gentleman here, very sad, has a chance of losing his leg because of the gravity of that accident in Aranaputa. This is locally. So we're watching that accidents on our roads and waterways. We're watching that. Right? They said the vendor who sells vegetables on his motorcycle could end up losing his legs as he crashed into a pickup yesterday morning. This is North Rupununi in Region 9. Yeah, be careful out there as you come and go this week, folks, as you come and go this month. 15th day of January, a number of accidents already we're witnessing out there. Let us be careful. Please and thank you. Let us be careful. It's a lot. All right? It's a lot happening, and some of it we have been tracking ourselves. Can't track all of it, but some of it certainly we have been trying to track. And for instance, we know that just last week, we're into the second week now. We at the end of the second week into January, at Rumvelt, there was an accident. We saw 2 persons lost their lives there. And as we talk about Market Man, we know that Raul and Sarah Wilson well, Ron and Sarah Mackenzie, they're on the market to run themselves when they got into that horrific accident close to the Rhineville police station. Cortland Public Road in the quarantine was an accident as well last week. Number 9 Public Road, there was an accident there, of course, again, on the West Coast. But beast, you want to watch it out there. All right? Moving on, folks, some of the things, 15 things we think you ought to know about as we start this new day. Take a look at this one. All right. The world's richest men doubled their wealth since 2020. How's your wealth doing? Forbes produced. How your wealth doing, Andrew Griffith? Marcy Agard, Vashi Magnoth? How your wealth doing? These men have doubled the world's richest. We're talking here about Elon Musk. You know, of Tesla fame, had a chance to see one of the Tesla offices while we were in Washington a couple of months ago. Elon Musk of Twitter, now X fame, same person. You know, you got the Bill Gates will be right up there. Warren Buffett will be right up there. We'd have also Amazon owner who owns other slew of companies. Jeff Bezos, he'd be right up there too. Double their wealth. So while COVID affected some of us, some of your businesses, these are shrewd captains of the economy, you know, double their wealth. And folks, listen to this. Vashti Pollard, Elizabeth. All right. My hope is some of you rise up to this kind of fame. Double their wealth. They said we are on the cusp of having the first trillionaire. We've only known billionaires in the past. Right? Like in the economy we have locally here in Guyana. Used to be millions, now everything is in billions with a capital bill. They say we were on the cusp of seeing the first trillionaire. Is it going to be Asruddin Mohammed? Who is it going to be? The first trillionaire. Double their wealth, you know. So while turbulent times may work against some of us, for the world's richest, they find a way. They find a way, Marcy Agard, Loretta Argyle. They find a way. Look at that we're following. This is Israel now. Israel, they say concerning some economic issues. One of Benjamin Netanyahu's ministers from his own party. Israel has always had coalition governments. And this is part of the vicissitudes of coalition governance. From his own party, stormed out of a meeting. Why? Can't agree. You see, disagreement is not necessarily a bad thing, you know. It is not necessarily a bad thing. But some of us believe that we all gotta agree. And somehow if you have a dissenting opinion, you are disloyal for some reason. But if we just agree to eat okra every day, will that be a shame? Give me a little borum, a little pumpkin every now and again, please. A little colored and so on. So there's some disagreement here, right? And the report we're having out of the Times of Israel says that despite Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's pledge to sit and deliberate as long as necessary to pass an amended 2024 budget, Sunday's government meeting quickly descended into acrimony. You might see some of that in the days ahead. God forbid. I hope they listen to the opposition locally. But there was acrimony on Sunday with members trading insults. The Minister of Education, Zohar Kesh, one of the Premier's own Likud party members, storming out of the room in a rage, they say. By tomorrow, everything will be all right. Disagreements can be good. Healthy debate is a very, very important part of democracy as well. A very, very important part. Yep. Look what else we see happening. 4 dead in Arizona. Yesterday, a hot air balloon. We still went down. We're still trying to get all of the details on this. Can't say if it's a mechanical failure, if it's a man-made, what have you. Right? 4 dead, nonetheless, in a hot air balloon crash. Watching this, folks. Watching this. A lot happening out there. A lot happening out there, folks. Yep. I think we're probably at Number 5 or so. Businessman killed after car slowed down for a cow to cross. Well, this is locally here. This is locally, folks. Not accident. Not an accident that we're following. Right? And this is what they're telling us. So this is about in 15 days, with 9 or 10 road fatalities we've had. Right? And this is something that we got to monitor. And hopefully, one of the things we'll be listening for in today's budget reading is what we are going to do. What policy prescriptions and monies they're going to put to issues like this. Right? So this is part of what we're going to be listening for and looking for as we examine today's, as we listen to the reading of today's budget. And then over the next week, we got a chance to debate some of it. There's a lot happening on our roads and our waterways. And of course, we've been tracking what's happening with the fires out there as well. Right? And we're going to keep tracking that. I'm trying to find my place. It's so much notes we have here. I'm trying to find my place in it. But definitely, folks, one of the things that we are following this morning, and we're going to check to see what does the budget say about this. What does it say about this? How they're going to try to solve this problem, and the kinds of funding they're going to try to put behind it. If not to eradicate it altogether, at least we can try to mitigate it as far as possible. All right? One of the things we are going to be watching. Try to have it like right there. Somehow it's become elusive now. Right, so we're watching it, folks. We're watching it. Right, the cow was trying to cross. The car waited for the cow to cross the road. And then there's problems. Yep. We're going to circle back to that, folks. Look at that we're following this morning. This is in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Palestinian protesters, were outside of the White House, of course, protesting for what Israel is doing there in Palestine, the Gaza Strip, and all of that. When they started hurling, quote-unquote, missiles, hurling things at police there outside the White House, from my own personal experience, very, very serious. These are not people you want to mess with. These are not people you want to mess with at all. And yet, interestingly, you don't see what's the cannons and tear gas and a heavy hand by the police. You see, democracy is going to function a certain way, And some of us don't want to commit to the hard task of building this democracy. We don't want no dissent. We don't want no contrary views. And we're going to show you very shortly, folks, this morning, where that is leading us. This disdain we have for a dissenting opinion. We're going to take you down that side. Just a little bit. But part of the 15 things we want you guys to know as you started, the Iceland volcano has erupted. And more than that, they say that it's spewing lava towards the town. Right? And though Iceland has been preparing for national disasters like this, it's still a concern. They've managed to evacuate lots of the folks from the township. I mean, they're waiting. Some of us are running up to get selfies with the volcano in the background. Because you all know you're all different. You all know how different you all are. Right? But Iceland have been preparing for such situations, such eventualities. Good, folks. Right, so they're watching it. Most persons, if not all, are out of harm's way, but heading towards the township there. Part of the 15 things we think you guys ought to know about as we are starting the day today. Look at us we got, folks. Locally again, right? Puruni Baghdam, a fallen tree, and a miner in the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers with all those, the families we've lost, whose loved ones we've lost. Yeah. So quite a few accidents as we start this new year. Quite a few. And this is one of them that we are looking at. They're telling us that a 44-year-old man just on Saturday was crushed by this tree, which an excavator operator uprooted at the mining site at Sand Hills, Puruni Baghdam. An excavator operator uprooted this tree. As a result of that, it fell on a miner. Thoughts and prayers. Mining is one of the most hazardous occupation you can engage in, and too much has been happening in that sector, and too many negatives too. We'll be looking to see what the Ministry of Labor comes up with there. But folks, internationally, look what's happening in the Ukraine. The Ukraine leader is still on that to bring more people on board for support, and they're telling us he has a peace formula that he's working on, and more folks are engaging that and perhaps liking what they hear. Folks, let there be peace on earth and goodwill to all men. We promised as a humanity after World War I, II, we ain't going back there. We put all systems in place, and yet we're seeing all of these things. It's been over 600 odd days of that war there between Russia and the Ukraine, right? And it's more than 2 months since what's been going on in Israel with the Palestinians. Yeah, we got a far way to go apparently. We haven't learned enough. Look at what we're following, folks. The Maldives, now this is a lot of geopolitics here, have been engaging China. I thought China and India were friends. I thought so. But the Maldives president had a meeting with China recently. And soon as he got back home, he started fretting about the Indian military by the archipelago there in the Maldives and giving them a deadline when they got to move. And pundits who looking at this saying it's because of the Chinese government's influence, right? Trading rivals, the Maldives caught in between. Clearly, the Maldives president, he take a side. It's clear as day. Here's what the Associated Press is telling us, that President Mohammed Musa wants the Indian military personnel stationed in his archipelago nation to withdraw by March 15. This is according to an official in the office of the Maldives president. Yeah, just came back from a visit to China. Geopolitics at its best, folks. Geopolitics at its best. Somewhat we following 15 things we think you ought to know about as we start today. Again, back in Israel, cold and hunger, folks, threatening the Palestinians, threatening those in the Gaza. They say Israel has blocked aid and has blocked the internet and coming down real hard. And it seems to me as though the tide of public opinion is turning against Israel. I think I saw former President Donald Ramadan with some comments in this morning's paper. I heard folks are internationally boycotting Starbucks because of their support for Israel. The tide. What's that poem that says there's a tide in the affairs of men? The tide seems to be turning. See? When we can stop this war and aggression. Talking about aggression. Trump, folks. Talking about aggression. It's been offered the ballot in two of the primary states in the US of A. Folks are hoping to offer more. The folks down there in Iowa's traditionally been the first state that caucuses. That's who you want for president? And they still with the straw polls down in Iowa. Despite what Trump do, especially evangelicals. I spent part of the night into the morning reading about this story here. Trump had a terrible time with evangelicals in his first campaigning. But now, the Washington Post is saying that Trump got him lock, stock, and barrel. They said they don't care, all these indictments and charges and all that. They want Trump. Right? And here the Washington Post is reporting that Trump's conviction, according to those in Iowa, wouldn't affect their support. Wouldn't affect. I think it's something like what we got here. PPP, there's a low bar of expectation for the PPP. So they get away with murder. They get away with corruption. But when another party, do that, oh my Lord, every day letters to the press. Every day party officials saying something. Different strokes for different folks. Different strokes. Those are the 15 things you think you ought to know about, guys, as we start this new day. Trump, the gift that keeps on giving. Today's budget day. Budget day. What will the budget have in store for us? What's there, folks, in the budget for us? What are you looking forward to? Are there things in this budget that you're looking forward to? Things you want to hear? Marcy Agard, Andrew Griffith, Charles Mitchell, Annette Cummins. Are there things you're looking forward to? Budget day. Yeah. What will it have? I can tell you in a sec what we are looking forward to. But there is a great sense that this is going to be the $1 trillion budget. Oh, they can come. It's history, it's historic, it's biggest budget ever. Should we be worried about that? All this spending, are we seeing value for dollars spent? Yeah. Folks who are watching us, the hundreds of you who tune in watching us, are your lives better? Since August 2nd, 2020. I'm talking about if you support the PPP. I'm talking about is your life. When you feel your pocket, you watch your bank account. Are you wealthier? Like the wealthiest in this world? Have you moved the margin, your disposable income, and what you're saving? Has your standard of living improved? Those are the questions we can ask ourselves as we engage budget 2024. What are they coming with? Right? Yeah. A lot of questions to be asked. We believe this is going to be the $1 trillion budget, history, biggest budget ever. We can hear all of that. What does it mean for us? You can make a bread. This year, Marcy Agard, Charles Mitchell, Rastaman, Francine Cruz, Annette Cummins. You can make a bread this year, this fiscal year. You can eat your food. Or is it going to be still friends, family, favorites, and flatterers? It's going to be still that? Listen to some of what the PPP says. It's going to be part of this budget. In the words of the Vice President, Mr. Bart Jagdeo, last Thursday's press conference. Here's what he says is coming in. Budget 2024. You can expect.
So clearly you are going to see the continuation of infrastructure, as we said before, for of different nature. You're going to see economic infrastructure continuing, projects that will expand our productive capacity. You will see support for industries. You will see social infrastructure, that's community roads, health centers, the health facilities, education facilities, recreational facilities, large amounts being done in the communities themselves. You will see more help to vulnerable groups, significant support to children, women, elderly. There are specific initiatives that would tackle those in a major way that you will see. You're going to continue to see support for job creation and expansion of job creation. So I'm not going to get into specifics because a lot have been mentioned, things that are ongoing by the president, and the Minister of Finance will get into the details of that. But I can just assure you that Monday will continue to support the same progressive annual accumulation of wealth and welfare to the citizens of the country that we've embarked upon since we reassumed office. So it will be supported there.
Yeah. So that was some of Mr. Jack Dio's take, Vice President Barry Jack Dio's take on what we can expect from Budget 2024. And, you know, we've been watching some of that because we've put it out there on social media, and folks, the comments have been fast and furious. You know, the government still got some time. Want to look at some of the comments on TikTok and so on. The comments have been fast and furious. So some folks said, we're voting y'all again. You can eat that. You hear them talking about roads and say, we can eat that. People are suffering in this country, regrettably. 3 years in the hardships, since 2022, we've been talking about this cost of living issue. And the government of the day seemed deaf to it, ill-equipped for a policy remedy, a policy prescription. And they're listening. And they're tone deaf. They seem a little off. Somehow, last year, for instance, the parliamentary opposition agreed with the government for a $5 billion relief package, you know, for bring down, to cushion, to contain the high cost of living. That was passed in February of last year. It was about October, November of last year when we saw some movement of the government in terms of some kind of a regime, how we're going to go about, what programs we're going to put out there. Months it took from the people who said they care. So that was the People's Progressive Party civic take, some of it, and what Budget 2024 is going to look like. We had also last week Thursday as well, the leader of the opposition with his own expectations, some of what he thinks should be in Budget 2024. You know, if you really care about people, if people are at the center, you know, Mr. Norton and the PNCR have been very strong on a people-centered approach to governance. Here's some of what he said last week on the subject matter. Budget 2024.
Budget 2024 will deliver no real gains for the people. The government had half-heartedly announced to the nation that Monday, 15 January 2024, this budget day. Not unexpectedly, this announcement stirred no anticipation or excitement among an exhausted and struggling Guyanese citizenry. While we expect the minister with responsibility for finance to label the budget the biggest ever, most ordinary Guyanese already know that it will not improve the living conditions of our people. As proof, we give you last year's budget of 900 billion, which although 3 times the 2019 budget, has failed to live the lives of ordinary people. We expect the 2024 budget to be more of the same. Infrastructure over people to enrich PPP elite family, friends, and favorites over the middle and lower classes. Again, we will be fed ad hoc projects rather than an integrated national development plan. Again, the focus will be quantity of expenditure over quality of life. One-off measures over structured and sustained social programs, and symbolic economic growth over real human development. The minister with responsibility for finance will tell us that budget 2024 will increase the disposable income, but he will not tell us how high cost of living and inflation will continue to shrink real income and spending power. He will tell us about increases in pension, public assistance, and school grants, for instance. But he will not tell us that people find these allocations to be woefully inadequate. The minister will tell us about higher oil production and larger government withdrawals from the Natural Resource Fund. But he will not explain to the people why they see no real improvements in their living standards from this oil wealth. Minister Singh will boast about the several infrastructure projects being planned, but he will not inform the nation how the PPP government intends to complete the many stalled projects and to reduce corruption, financial waste, and discrimination in contract awards. We wish the minister will tell us, one, that a cost of living allowance will be given to all workers, government workers, that they will raise the income tax threshold to 150,000, that there will be a reduction in VAT, that there will be the removal of VAT from all locally manufactured food items, that there will be the rationalization of electricity and water rates, that there will be an increase in the minimum wage of government workers by at least 50%, that they will remove personal income tax from low-wage earners, that they will provide a generous risk allowance for frontline workers, and that they will guarantee all households a minimum livable income. We know he would not. In the budget debate, we in the opposition will again not only identify defects and deficiencies in the 2024 budget, but to present an alternative vision and development plan for Guyana. Our vision is based on a different way of thinking about Guyana and its people. As we have repeatedly declared, our people-centered vision puts people first. One, we see it as the moral obligation of any serious government to raise the quality of life of all citizens. In fact, it is the fundamental reason why a government exists. Two, we see it as respecting and honoring the people's human and constitutional right to a good life. And three, we see it as good economic policy, as direct investments in people's well-being can further energize and boost the economy. As we present our case to the people during the debate, we are confident Guyanese will see that we in the opposition care more for them and their families. We will stand with Guyanese in rejecting the existence of two Guyanas, one for the PPP elite, friends, families, and favorites, and another for everyone else. we will demonstrate to Guyanese that we stand for equity and shared prosperity. The 2024 budget presentation, therefore, will be the same old PPP demonstration of crony capitalism, bricks and mortar projects, and political gimmickry. If the PPP was bad pre-2015, they are even worse now. Luckily, with elections on the horizon, this is either the PPP's last or second to last government budget. Thank you.
Yeah, there you have it. That was Mr. Aubrey Norton, leader of the opposition in Guyana and leader of the People's National Congress Reform, walking through some of the expectations there of Budget 2024, cost of living allowance for government workers, raising the income tax threshold to $150,000, a reduction in VAT, a removal from VAT from all locally manufactured food items, rationalization of the electricity and water rates, and increase in the minimum wage for government workers by at least 50% is what Irfan Ali himself had promised. Not so. And he's looking forward to also to removal of income tax from low-wage earners, and finally there in that excerpt, a generous risk allowance to frontline workers. Yeah, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. A lot of folks are asking, where all this money going, Where all this money going? We've spent about a rough average about $2.3 trillion since August 2nd, 2020. We've thrown that at the economy. Lots of economists have been talking. Lots of the pundits have been talking, the technical folks, about this large scale and in some instances reckless spending. Part of what we can do is overheat the economy, driving up inflation, the cost of living with it, folks. And that could be part of the reason some of us are feeling the pinch out here, because we don't have a shrewd management of the economy. Believe it or not, September 2020, budget was $329 billion. By December of that year, they added another $17 billion to it. That was just 2020. By 2021, February, the national budget was $383.1 billion. By June, they added another $21.3 billion to that. And by December, they added another $26 billion to it. By 2022, the national budget in February was $552.9 billion. By July of 2022, they added $44.7 billion to it. And by December, another $47.3 billion to it. Where all the money going? I think I saw Andrew Griffith's comment there on Facebook. Where all the money going? That was the question Andrew was asking. Last year, to improve lives today and building prosperity for tomorrow, the January budget last year was $781.9 billion. 781.9. There was a July supplemental for 31 billion, an August supplemental for 61 billion, and by December of last year, last month, another $25.9 billion, which took us close to $900 billion for last year alone. Flinging that in the budget. How money of that came into your pockets? Have your lives improved since August 2nd, 2020? $2.3 trillion later. Does the life of your family improve? Since where all the money going? Folks, where all the money going? That's the question to be asked. Where is all this money going? I'd like to know. Wouldn't you like to know, Donjo? Francine Rastuman, Colin Smart, Arnold Cummins? Where all the money going? I'll tell you where some of it going just now. I'll tell you in a second. The lines will change on Friday too. Have their own expectations. That's my party of choice, of which I'm the general secretary. FYI, believe it or not, I love it. I love it. I love it. Folks, we're happy to contribute in our own way to the coalition and, staying on the vanguard for Guyanese and trying to keep this administration honest, get them out of government so some proper stewardship could come back to this economy. Here is what the Alliance for Change said, their own expectations of budget 2024 rather, 2024. Take a look, take a listen.
Looking at the budget 2024 and the expectations of the people. Like every other budget under every government, the upcoming budget, this being the 2024 budget, will be the largest ever. However, for the first time in the history of Guyana, the budget is expected to be over $1 trillion. This expectation is based on the fact that in addition to the budgeted expenditure of $781.9 billion, the PPP government submitted 5 additional financial papers for the year 2023 that total $118.2 billion, bringing the year to an end with a total approved sum of $900.1 billion. Of the $900 billion, we are yet to see the commencement of several projects. Some projects are merely now seeing the soil being torn. And for the projects that have started, there are numerous public outcry about the poor standard of works being carried out by the friends and family contractors associated with the PPP government. Of the $118 billion additional sums approved during the year, 2023 ended without numerous projects starting. For example, 2023 ended without the Barkabutah Road being started after monies were approved in the National Assembly on the 9th of August, 2023 towards that project. This is just one example of what's to be expected after large sums of monies continues to be budgeted and approved in the National Assembly. The enthusiasm that Guyanese had for the first oil budget has deflated over the years as the PPP administration continues to present budget after budget with no real tangible benefit to the ordinary man and woman. However, Guyanese still have basic expectations from the government for the budget 2024. Among these expectations, Guyanese expect free education, investment in the public transportation system, increase in old age pension to $70,000, an increase in budgeted allocations to GCOM to cater for a more superior system that includes, but is not limited to, biometrics. Remove the cost of residential house lots, significantly invest in national security, equitable adjustment and increasing cost of living allowance, investment in provision for public transportation, that's redundant a little bit, reduction in the interest rate for homeowners, increase subvention to the NDCs that will not be subjected to central government directives, monetary provisions for first-time home builders. Those expectations are certainly reasonable for the nation to expect, given the expected $1 trillion budget. Additionally, with more money being budgeted for expenditure, the opposition expects to be given more time in the consideration of the estimates, as it is unreasonable to expect any real scrutiny of a budget over $1 trillion to be done within the same time frame that was used to scrutinize $200 billion budgets. Those are some of the reasonable expectations of budget 2024. But like every other Guyanese, we will not hold our breath for the PPP to come through for this nation once again, I think.
Yeah, there you have it, folks, the Alliance for Change. And I think some of the points, especially the last one, is very important, made by the finance spokespersons for the Alliance for Change, with the finance, that you can use the same time you were using to scrutinize a $200 billion budget for a $1 trillion budget. But that's what the people want to do. Because you see, they just want to ram this money through the National Assembly and spend. Spend, baby, spend. That's what they want to do. You think that is right? Or should more time be allocated? Where all the money going? That's the question a lot of folks are asking. Where all the money going? One place has been going is the PPP base, Kaisuko. It's like the black hole, you know, the event horizon of the black hole where even light can't escape. It's the gravitational pull is so strong, it pulls in light. That's Gaisuko. Gaisuko's event horizon is so strong, it pulls in the whole economy. Even before the first budget was passed, in August 2nd, 2020, when they came to government, even before the first budget was passed in September of 2020, Gaisuko got $600 million. Before the first budget was passed, $600 million. In that September budget of 2020, they got another $5 billion. By December of 2020, they got another $4 billion. The February budget of 2021, they got $2 billion. June supplemental budget in 2021, they got $1.5 billion. By December 2021, they got another $5.1 billion in a supplementary budget. You ask where the money going? February 2022, Gaisuko got $6 billion in that national budget of February 2022. $6 billion. August 2022, that supplemental budget, Gaisuko got $3.1 billion. December supplemental budget of 2022, Gaisuko got $1 billion. And in February's budget, 2023, last year, they got $4 billion. With more billions by the supplemental during the summer of last year. And then December, more money. You see? How much profits Gaisuko returned in the last 3 years? Skeldon sold a pound of sugar profitability last year. Remember, Skeldon was a transformational project. Just like the Cheddi-Jagan International Airport. 11 years on, still building. Just like the fiber optic cable, just like the one laptop of family. Transformational projects. Millions and billions of dollars expended. What's the return on investment? Jason and Debbie. Before we wrap up, folks, before we let you go, homework. Today's editorial in the Sabuk News. Homework. Today's editorial in the Sabuk News as we run up to program time. We're becoming a surveillance state, folks. We're becoming a surveillance society because the PPP said it has a security master plan in which they're rolling out surveillance CCTV cameras across the nation. And more than just doing that, folks, they're being equipped with facial recognition technology. The government says, PP says they're aiming to find criminals wherever they are, track criminals wherever they go in the country. It's a cause for concern. You remember spy equipment, PPP? Ramsamy, you remember that? It's a cause for concern. So they could track you anywhere in the country. Criminal and non-criminal alike. They can track. It's not concerning. You think, with all that we know of this current government, as beloved as they are, they're going to keep this and limit it to criminal elements. Overlooking this. And one of the points Sabuk News makes in its editorial, read it for yourself, free online. Free online. The header of the editorial is facial recognition. One of the points Sabuk News makes in this editorial is, first and foremost, it should be a bill, this new way in which they're going, in the National Assembly for debate. First and foremost, Sabuk News ends their editorial by saying this: facial recognition is riddled with all sorts of problems that this government, which has a proclivity for control and ignoring the opposition, will be unable to satisfactorily handle. They will be unable to satisfactorily handle. And while they're watching you, who watching them? Why, Jack, you want to know my wares about? Where I go and where I come? Why you want to know if I'm in Yarakita or in Imbutiro? Huh? Why you want to know if I'm in Letem or I'm in Karasabad? Why should that concern him? You think they can limit this just to criminal elements? They can put one outside the workhouse? Facial recognition. Right? Every citizen will be surveilled. Is that the kind of state? This is about 13 of we here. Why do you want to follow people's movements? That's something we got to watch. That is something we got to watch. Folks, as we engage budget 2024. See, I'm way back. Why am I there? One of the things we got to watch. Now, apologies there. The internet doesn't want us to be great. Let's just make sure you guys are getting audio. Yeah. Can you guys hear us? As we wrap up, we're see, they've done started surveillance. You know? They already started surveillance. As we wrap up, you know, what's health going to look like? What are they envisioning for health? That's going to be key for us today. Right? What going to be what the corporate tax is going to look like after today? That's one of the things we're keen on. VAT. What's VAT going to look like? Remember, they brought VAT. They implemented VAT, the PPP, under one of their governments. They brought VAT. What's VAT going to look like? Right? And then governance, that ministry portfolio. Local government. What's going to go to local government? You know, this has been a ministry that really needs attention. Local government. I wonder why they didn't sort it fit to elevate Anand Prasad there as the substantive minister. They had to bring Sonia Paraka. She didn't do nothing. Bring her over to local government. They didn't see it fit. Question marks over Anand. Asterisk by Anand. Why didn't see it fit to elevate Anand? Okay? We want to know what housing is going to look like. What housing is going to look like. The public service. Remember, they bring Sonia from the public service. Pelchi by housing, by local government now. What are their plans for the public service? There's no expectation we're going to hear any figures in terms of the raise in salary for the public servants. We don't expect that. You'll hear an amount has been allocated, but then they're going to wait. That has been the trend for the last 3 years. They wait till November, December, and then they make an announcement. What the public service is going to look like? Housing, water, the justice sector. I have an interest in this. What the justice sector is going to look like. I have an interest in what housing and water is going to look like. Been following some stalled projects in housing in Bartica, in the Rupununi as well. Or education, plans for education, the budget for education. What's that going to look like? Small business support. I have a keen interest in that. Small business support. What's that going to look like? Agriculture. Has Zulfikar Mustafa been doing enough? That's a question I'm leaving for you. Amerindian and the hinterland. What is that going to look like? What's budgeting for that going to look like? Youth, sports, and culture. What's that going to look like? Public safety and security. Another interest of mine, what's that going to look like? National security. What's the public investment going to be there? The extractive industries. Another interest of mine, agro-processing, fisheries, and agriculture. What's that going to look like? So a lot of things we're gauging. How are they aiming to? What key measures are they looking at for increasing disposable income? You know, we talked about the public service, right? Salary adjustments. What are they looking at there? What are those figures going to look like? Right? Easing of the cost of living, containing the cost of living. What sums are they going to put behind that? What policy initiatives, policy prescriptions are they going to associate with trying to alleviate the high cost of living in Guyana? Those are just a couple of the things, couple of the many things we are looking at in this year's budget, the 2024 budget. Folks, that's going to do it for us at this end. That's our time this morning as we head off to the National Assembly, among other things. That's our program. Stay safe. Remember, folks, to partner with us so we can do more programs like this. Pace and power. Valid, credible information. Stay safe, Marcy and Dolly and Vanella, Fratia, Kyle and Ayandi, Savannah Page. Kyle, I see that comment there, right? About what housing and water going to look like. Beryl, Yolanda, Marcia, Forbes. Good to see you on the live this morning, folks. That's going to do it for us at this end. Stay safe and have a productive day, folks. And we're going to keep you guys posted on all things budget 2024 in the hours ahead. Stay safe.